The history of the Moorish Empire is a captivating narrative of conquest, cultural fusion, and intellectual flourishing that has profoundly shaped the world as we know it today. Spanning across North Africa, the Iberian Peninsula, and parts of southern Europe, the Moors left an indelible mark on architecture, science, literature, and philosophy. Their influence is still evident in the modern world, from the intricate designs of Spanish cathedrals to the advanced agricultural techniques they introduced. So we'll explore the rich and complex history of the Moorish Empire, delving into its origins, cultural achievements, and lasting legacy. The term Moors generally refers to the Muslim inhabitants of the Maghreb, the Iberian Peninsula, Sicily, and Malta during the Middle Ages. The Moors were primarily Berbers and Arabs from North Africa, though the term has often been used broadly to include any Muslim in these regions. Early beginnings in North Africa. The roots of the Moorish Empire can be traced back to the Arab conquest of North Africa in the 7th century. Following the death of the Prophet Muhammad in 632 AD, the Islamic Caliphate rapidly expanded its territory. By the late 7th century, the Umayyad Caliphate had successfully conquered much of North Africa, bringing Islam to the region and establishing a series of Islamic states. The indigenous Berber tribes of North Africa, who had long resisted Roman and Byzantine rule, were gradually converted to Islam and integrated into the Islamic world. The Umayyad Caliphate's success in North Africa laid the foundation for the eventual Moorish expansion into Europe. The Berbers, who played a crucial role in the Islamic conquests, would become key players in the establishment of the Moorish Empire. The conquest of Iberia. The most significant event in the rise of the Moorish Empire was the conquest of the Iberian Peninsula, which began in 711 AD. Led by the Berber general Tariq ibn Ziyad, a Muslim army crossed the Strait of Gibraltar and defeated the Visigothic king Roderick at the Battle of Guadalete. This victory marked the beginning of nearly 8 centuries of Muslim rule in parts of Spain and Portugal. The Moors quickly established control over much of the Iberian Peninsula, creating the province of Al-Andalus. The early years of Moorish rule in Iberia were marked by rapid expansion and consolidation of power. The Umayyad Caliphate in Damascus oversaw the administration of Al-Andalus, but the region soon developed its own unique identity, blending Islamic, Christian, and Jewish cultures. The Golden Age of Al-Andalus. The period from the 8th to the 10th centuries is often referred to as the Golden Age of Al-Andalus. During this time, the Moorish Empire reached the height of its cultural, intellectual, and economic achievements. The cities of Al-Andalus, particularly Córdoba, became centers of learning and innovation, attracting scholars, artists, and scientists from across the Islamic world and beyond. The Emirate and Caliphate of Córdoba. One of the most significant developments during this period was the establishment of the Emirate of Córdoba in 756 AD by Abd al-Rahman I, a member of the Umayyad dynasty who had fled the Abbasid revolution in the Middle East. Abd al-Rahman I established Córdoba as the capital of Al-Andalus and laid the foundation for a prosperous and stable state. Under the rule of Abd al-Rahman III, 912 to 961 AD, the Emirate of Córdoba was elevated to the status of a caliphate, signifying its independence from the Abbasid Caliphate in Baghdad. The Caliphate of Córdoba became one of the most powerful and influential states in the Mediterranean world, rivaling the Byzantine Empire and the Abbasid Caliphate in terms of wealth, culture, and military strength. Córdoba itself became a beacon of civilization, renowned for its grand mosques, libraries, and palaces. The Great Mosque of Córdoba, with its distinctive horseshoe arches and intricate ornamentation, remains one of the most iconic symbols of Moorish architecture. The city was also home to one of the largest libraries in the world at the time, housing hundreds of thousands of manuscripts on subjects ranging from theology to mathematics. Cultural and intellectual achievements. The Golden Age of Al-Andalus was characterized by a remarkable fusion of cultures and ideas. Muslim, Christian, and Jewish scholars worked together in an atmosphere of tolerance and mutual respect, translating and preserving the works of ancient Greek, Roman, and Persian thinkers. This intellectual exchange played a crucial role in the preservation and transmission of classical knowledge to the rest of Europe. One of the most famous scholars of this period was Ibn Rushd, known in the West as Averroes. A philosopher, jurist, and physician, Ibn Rushd is best known for his commentaries on the works of Aristotle, which had a profound influence on both Islamic and Christian thought. His works were later translated into Latin and became a cornerstone of the European Renaissance. Another notable figure was Ibn Arabi, a Sufi mystic and philosopher whose writings on metaphysics and spirituality continue to be studied and revered by scholars of Islamic mysticism. His ideas on the unity of existence and the concept of divine love have had a lasting impact on Sufi thought. In addition to philosophy and theology, the Moors made significant contributions to the fields of science, medicine, and mathematics. The introduction of the Arabic numeral system, including the concept of zero, revolutionized mathematics in Europe. Moorish astronomers, such as al-Zarqali, made important advancements in the study of celestial bodies, while physicians like al-Zahrawi wrote comprehensive medical encyclopedias that were used as standard texts in European universities for centuries. Moorish architecture and art. The Moors are perhaps best known for their architectural and artistic achievements, which have left an enduring legacy in Spain and beyond. Moorish architecture is characterized by its intricate geometric patterns, arabesques, and the use of ornate tilework known as azulejos. The architecture of Al-Andalus reflects the Moors' mastery of engineering and their deep appreciation for beauty and symmetry. The Alhambra, a masterpiece of Moorish art. One of the most iconic examples of Moorish architecture is the Alhambra, a palace and fortress complex in Granada. Constructed during the 13th and 14th centuries by the Nasrid dynasty, the Alhambra is a masterpiece of Islamic art and architecture. The complex is renowned for its stunning courtyards, intricate stucco work, and breathtaking views of the surrounding landscape. The Alhambra's most famous feature is the Court of the Lions, an exquisite courtyard adorned with a central fountain supported by 12 marble lions. The intricate patterns of the surrounding arches and columns exemplify the Moors' ability to create harmony and balance in their architectural designs. The Alhambra also served as a symbol of the Nasrid dynasty's power and prestige. The palace was not only a royal residence but also a center of political and cultural life in the Kingdom of Granada. Its beauty and elegance have inspired countless artists, writers, and poets over the centuries, making it one of the most visited monuments in Spain today. The Great Mosque of Córdoba. Another iconic example of Moorish architecture is the Great Mosque of Córdoba, also known as the Mezquita. Originally built in the 8th century and expanded over the following centuries, the Great Mosque is one of the largest and most impressive mosques ever constructed. Its design reflects the influence of both Islamic and Roman architecture, with its vast hypostyle hall, soaring arches, and ornate mihrab, prayer niche. The Great Mosque of Córdoba is particularly famous for its forest of columns and arches, which create a sense of infinite space and tranquility. The horseshoe arches, a distinctive feature of Moorish architecture, are decorated with alternating bands of red and white stone, adding to the visual impact of the interior. Following the Christian reconquest of Córdoba in 1236, the mosque was converted into a cathedral, but much of the original structure was preserved. The juxtaposition of Islamic and Christian elements in the building makes it a unique symbol of the cultural and religious history of Spain. The decline of the Moorish Empire. Despite its cultural and intellectual achievements, the Moorish Empire began to decline in the late 11th century. The reasons for this decline are complex and multifaceted, involving internal strife, external pressures, and the gradual Christian reconquest of Iberia. The rise of the Christian kingdoms. One of the key factors in the decline of the Moorish Empire was the rise of the Christian kingdoms in the north of Spain. From the 8th century onwards, Christian forces began to push southward, gradually reclaiming territory from the Moors. This process, known as the Reconquista, was driven by a combination of religious fervor and political ambition. By the 11th century, the Christian kingdoms of Castile, Aragon, and Leon had become powerful enough to challenge Moorish rule in Iberia. The fragmentation of Al-Andalus into smaller, weaker states, known as the Tafa kingdoms, made it easier for the Christian forces to make significant gains. The capture of Toledo by King Alfonso VI of Castile in 1085 marked a turning point in the Reconquista. Toledo, one of the most important cities in Al-Andalus, was a major center of learning and culture. Its fall to the Christians was a significant blow to the Moors and signaled the beginning of the end for Muslim rule in Iberia. The Almoravid and Almohad dynasties. In response to the growing threat from the Christian kingdoms, the Moors sought help from two powerful North African dynasties, the Almoravids and the Almohads. These dynasties temporarily halted the Christian advance and brought a brief period of stability to Al-Andalus. The Almoravids, a Berber dynasty, established control over Al-Andalus in the late 11th century. They were succeeded by the Almohads, another Berber dynasty, in the 12th century. Both dynasties were known for their strict adherence to Islamic law and their efforts to reform and strengthen the Islamic State. Under Almohad rule, the Moors experienced a brief resurgence of power and influence. The Almohads undertook ambitious building projects, including the construction of the Giralda in Seville and the Kutubiyya Mosque in Marrakesh. They also promoted a more orthodox form of Islam, which led to tensions with the more tolerant and diverse society of Al-Andalus. However, the Almohad Empire began to weaken in the 13th century due to internal conflicts and external pressures. The decisive defeat of the Almohads by the Christian forces at the Battle of Las Navas de Tolosa in 1212 marked the beginning of the end for Moorish power in Iberia, the fall of Granada, and the end of Moorish rule. The final chapter of the Moorish Empire's history in Iberia was the fall of Granada in 1492. Granada, the last Muslim stronghold in Spain, had managed to survive for centuries as a vassal state of the Christian kingdoms. However, by the late 15th century, the Catholic monarchs Ferdinand and Isabella were determined to complete the Reconquista and bring all of Spain under Christian rule. The Siege of Granada began in 1491 and lasted for several months. Despite valiant efforts by the Nasrid ruler Boabdil to defend the city, Granada was eventually forced to surrender on January 2, 1492. The fall of Granada marked the end of nearly 800 years of Muslim rule in Iberia and the beginning of a new era in Spanish history. The conquest of Granada also had profound consequences for the Muslim and Jewish populations of Spain. The Catholic monarchs issued a series of edicts that forced Muslims and Jews to either convert to Christianity or leave the country. This marked the beginning of the Spanish Inquisition, a dark period of persecution and religious intolerance. The legacy of the Moorish Empire. The legacy of the Moorish Empire is vast and far-reaching, influencing various aspects of European and global history. The Moors introduced new agricultural techniques, scientific knowledge, and cultural practices to Europe, many of which have endured to this day. Influence on European Renaissance. The intellectual and cultural achievements of the Moors played a crucial role in shaping the European Renaissance. The translation of classical Greek and Roman texts by Moorish scholars preserved the knowledge of antiquity, which had been lost to much of Europe during the Dark Ages. These texts, along with the original works of Islamic philosophers and scientists, were later translated into Latin and became foundational to the intellectual revival that characterized the Renaissance. The Moors' contributions to mathematics, particularly in algebra and geometry, laid the groundwork for many of the advancements made by European mathematicians during the Renaissance. The introduction of Arabic numerals, the concept of zero, and the use of the astrolabe were all innovations that had a lasting impact on European science and technology. Architectural influence. The architectural legacy of the Moors is evident in the numerous buildings and structures that still stand today, particularly in Spain. The use of intricate geometric patterns, ornate tile work, and the horseshoe arch became defining features of Moorish architecture and were later incorporated into Spanish and European design. The influence of Moorish architecture can be seen in the mudéjar style, a unique blend of Islamic and Christian elements that emerged in Spain following the Reconquista. The mudéjar style is characterized by its use of brick, wood, and plaster, as well as its decorative motifs, which often include intricate tile work and carved stucco. Linguistic and cultural impact. The Moors also left a significant mark on the Spanish language and culture. Many Spanish words have Arabic origins, particularly in fields such as science, medicine, and agriculture. Words like algebra, alchemy, and alchemy all have Arabic roots, reflecting the Moors' contributions to these fields. The cultural exchange between the Moors and the Christian and Jewish populations of Iberia also led to a unique blending of traditions and customs. This cultural fusion is evident in Spanish music, dance, and cuisine, which have been shaped by centuries of interaction between different religious and ethnic groups. The Moorish influence in modern times. The influence of the Moorish Empire extends beyond Spain and Europe, leaving a lasting legacy in the Islamic world and beyond. The Moors' achievements in science, medicine, and architecture have inspired generations of scholars and practitioners in the Islamic world, contributing to the development of modern science and technology. In the modern era, the legacy of the Moors is often celebrated as a symbol of tolerance, cultural exchange, and intellectual achievement. The history of the Moorish Empire serves as a reminder of the rich and diverse heritage of the Islamic world and its contributions to global civilization. In conclusion, the history of the Moorish Empire is a testament to the power of cultural exchange and intellectual curiosity. For nearly 800 years, the Moors created a vibrant and diverse society in Iberia that left a lasting impact on the world. Their achievements in architecture, science, philosophy, and the arts continue to inspire and influence us today. As we reflect on the legacy of the Moorish Empire, we are reminded of the importance of tolerance, knowledge, and the pursuit of excellence in all aspects of life. And with that, we have come to the end of this episode. If you find this video informative, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.